not only could the prisoners see each other, but the CEOs could see everything that was going on, even in the cells. One guy did say to me at one of the prisons I went to in Colorado, I think it was, I said, well, this place is so clean and it's so modern. This must be the place everybody wants to come to. And he said, oh no, it's total opposite, because they've taken away the one last thing we had, which is our privacy. So it's actually a worse punishment to be in this place. And I was like blown away by that. So it made me even want to more do it, the way we did it. So.
And talk about Augustus Hill, the use of an omniscient narrator.
Well, it's funny, in Homicide, we would, as I said, we would have in the car coming and in the car going from the murder scene, we would have these scenes where the two of the detectives would have these philosophical discussions about life and death and taxes or whatever. What I realized that in prison, after doing the research, is there isn't that kind of intimacy because it's dangerous to be that intimate with somebody. So I thought, well, but thematically, I want somebody to be articulating what the point of the episode is, and I thought about the old Greek chorus, and I thought, oh, well, that might be a kind of interesting thing. Have a bunch of the prisoners, talking in unison or something, and then that stopped being such a good idea. And then I thought, why don't I just have one guy? And the reason I put him in a wheelchair is I wanted him to not only be, I wanted him either to be Latino or African American, so that his experience, his struggle was unique to his, in other words, because most HBO subscribers at the time were white, I wanted them to be hearing it from somebody that they weren't used to getting the story from. But then I put him in the wheelchair because I thought, well, okay, if he's just African American or if he's just Latino, that struggle is only so far. But to be a minority and to be disabled means you've had to face multiple kind of moments of reflection. So I thought it made him a character that would be reflective, if you know what I mean, and set him apart from everybody else on the show.
And how in the last season, why did you go to multiple?
Well, Harold, all the actors started getting other jobs, and as my mentor Bruce Peltro taught me, you let people go if they get a better job. He got a job on Matrix 3 or 9 or whatever, some Matrix number, and they were shooting in Australia. So it wasn't like he was next door and he could shoot a little of our stuff and shoot a little of their stuff. So I had a long talk with Harold Perrineau, the actor, and I said, look, I'll write as many of these before you leave, and we'll shoot a whole bunch of them for different episodes. And then when you can come back, we'll shoot some more. But I may get to the point where I need to other people, so I'm going to create it so that all the dead people, because by that point his character had died. So I thought, well, okay, this is now reflections from hell. This is life. This is life on the other side, coming back to comment on Oz. So that's why it was a practical reason. How do you I could have forced him to stay, but I thought, well, why am I going to take a big feature film away from a guy who's been stand-up, he'd been stand-up the whole time we'd done the series. So, I was, and it was kind of good to also to mix it up the last season.
Yeah, did you know it was the last season that you?
Yes. What happened was HBO came to me and said, do you want to do one more season or 2 more seasons? And I thought about it and I went, I know I have another season in me. I don't know if I have 2 seasons in me, because the God's honest truth, by that point, writing the show was really starting to haunt me. I would finish writing the 8 episodes, and then normally when I finish writing something, I go right into the next thing, and totally different, and I'm all like, fine, put that one away, come over to this one. Oz wouldn't let me go. It just was constantly following me and constantly talking to me and saying, well, what about this? And I'd go like, well, I'm done. Leave me alone. I'm over on this one now. So as we got to that season, the start of the 6th season, I went like, you know what? I just got to stop doing this. So I'll just do one more, and that'll be the end of it. Now, of course, I wish we had done a couple more seasons because I missed the show. It was a lot of fun to do it, and I guess part of me was also worried about. I loved the cast so much, and I worried that by doing like another season or 2, it would truly get to be kind of self-parody, because how much could possibly more happen to these guys? I mean, it started. I started to go like, oh, come on, So I think part of it was going like, let's go out while I'm feeling good about it, as opposed to overstaying our welcome and us sitting there going like, what are we doing here? So,
where was it shot?
around the corner on 14th and 9th Avenue, in the old Nabisco cookie factory. So.
Did it feel like a prison on the set?
Yeah, when you walked on that set, and we would shoot 10, 12 hours. You would walk on that set, and 12 hours later you walk off, and you were literally like, oh, I'm free, I'm free, I'm free, I'm free. And what was great about the cast was when they were working together, they were very intense, but they would go bowling together, they'd go out drinking together. Even like people who on the show were supposedly hating each other were very close friends off stage. So I think they all wanted that kind of like, let's just go somewhere now and put all that behind us,
Yeah, talk about the cast and how they handled the series like that, because it was so intense and so
Yeah.
visceral. How
Well, the cast came together 3 ways. Some of the actors, like Lee Tergesen and Dean Winters, I had worked with, and I wanted to write parts specifically for them. Some of the actors, like B.D. Wong and Rita Moreno, I'd always wanted to work with, and so I talked to them, and they said, yeah, I'll do it. And then some of the actors, like Eamon Walker and Adewale, I'd never seen before, and Alexa Fogel, our casting director, brought them in, and they just, kicked ass. And so what I would try to do was to, in designing the character, I would say, what's the stereotype? We're going to start with the stereotype so that the audience feels like comfortable with their reinforcement of our stereotype. And then let's take the stereotype and strip the stereotype away and make the audience go, well, wait a minute, now I like this guy, but I already made up my mind that I didn't like the guy. And then bring the audience through that, and then have the character do something to make them go, oh no, I hate him. No, I was right to hate him. So that was the kind of way that I did it, but the actors really were, as I said before, they were so courageous and so willing to try anything and so willing to contribute things. Rita, who was playing a nun, said to me, wouldn't it be interesting if I get like a crush on one of the prisoners? And I'm a psychologist and I'm a nun, and it's the totally wrong thing for me to do, but wouldn't that be great? And I said to her, yeah, that's a great idea. And that was like the first season, and I think she thought I blew her off and was just going, yeah, whatever. But I was looking for the right actor, and when Maloney came around, I went, well, that's the actor that's got to do this scene with these scenes with Rita. So yeah.
Now, did you, when you were initially creating the series and coming up with these characters, did you see their arcs as they went along, or did you learn about their characters as you were writing?
It depended on the character. With Beecher, I always had a pretty clear idea of what he would go through over the course of the series. And O'Reilly also had a fairly clear sense. Saeed, I had a fairly clear sense.